Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
James sent me a note and said, Steve, this is happening in your backyard, so that got my attention. From Bridge, Michigan. This is a Michigan-based news source. Michigan reaping millions by hiding unclaimed money worth less than $50. And it's a strange story. And at first you might think, oh, it's not that big of a deal until you hear about how much money is involved. It's just a lot of small amounts. So Jonathan Oosting wrote this about the state of Michigan, which lists lost or abandoned money online for rightful owners to claim. So if there's money out there that somehow is yours, but it got waylaid somehow, we'll get to that in a second, and you go on the site and it's there, you go, oh, there's my money, and you can claim it, so long as it's more than $50. Less than $50, they don't bother reporting that, and that adds up. So more than 17.6 million unclaimed properties under $50 are worth a collective $189 million. And we're talking primarily about uncashed checks or money from forgotten bank accounts. That's according to data from the Michigan Treasury, which contends that putting those properties on its public search website would not be practical. It's so impractical to just keep that $189 million to ourselves. So in a state that is pocketing an average of $122 million a year in unclaimed property profits, hiding properties worth up to $49 is nonsense, according to a national watchdog who has helped spur reforms in other states. Michigan currently lists more than 8.6 million unclaimed properties on its public website, which allows potential owners to file claims and submit identifying documentation, such as driver's licenses and social security cards, things of that nature, to indicate that you are, in fact, the person that money belongs to. But they only list properties of $50 or more. They exclude the stuff less than $50. And by excluding that from the public website, they say it's a matter of logistics and finances. That's the administrative manager of Michigan's Unclaimed Property Program. He said, we set $50 as a per property minimum because with millions of properties in our custody, many less than $1, listing everything is not practical from system storage and cost perspectives. Now, I wouldn't say you list something less than $1, but less than $50? You know, it does make you wonder why they picked that number. He said it would also stress our public-facing site where individuals, businesses, and others file claims and upload documentation electronically. He noted that residents can still find out if you own any unclaimed properties worth less than $50 by calling a phone number between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. on weekdays. So apparently, they've got the time and the manpower to have somebody answer the phone when you call, and you can ask them, is there anything that you've got of mine less than $50? Give them the information, they'll say yes or no. It's hard to imagine that costs less than uploading it to a website, but I'm not an IT guy, so maybe I'm wrong. And if residents make claims for a higher value property that is listed online, the state should alert you to any smaller claims at that time. You would think, that's what some people say, but that's not what they're doing. So, in other words, let's suppose you go on the website and you discover, hey, there's $200, that's mine, and you claim it. If they had a $48 amount that was owed to you also, they don't tell you that unless you specifically ask by calling that phone number between 9 and 2 on weekdays. So adding low-value properties to Michigan's website would help owners find them and should not be a heavy lift, according to the people who are the watchdogs on this. Their advocacy in the state of Connecticut, for instance, spurred a reform to fix that. There, the state treasurer last year quickly expanded Connecticut's online database after reporters revealed that the state had collected, but publicly concealed, more than $40 million in unclaimed property valued at $50 or less. Connecticut's lawmakers praised the move. I'm very happy to hear that they're actually going to expand the reporting of the amounts under $50, says a senator in the state speaking to the Connecticut Mirror. I mean, to me, that was ridiculous. Why wouldn't you do that? With approval from the state legislature, Connecticut also recently implemented another major reform, automatic returns for unclaimed properties worth less than $2,500 in cases where there was clear ownership. The numbers of claims skyrocketed, the watchdog said, citing record-setting returns in Connecticut It's clear from the data that they were denying people their money before. And that's one thing I've always been curious about. I understand if somebody moved several times and a check never caught up with them. But I've heard from people who say, you know something, I've lived at the same address for years. And somehow somebody said, oh, by the way, this thing here is, belonging to you. And it's like, well, you couldn't find me? Really? So Massachusetts made a similar change last year. Several other states had already listed properties worth less than $50 on their unclaimed property websites, including California, Indiana, Missouri, Idaho, Hawaii, and Wyoming. And those states actually will list the exact values, not just under $50. Doing the same should not be hard in Michigan because the state uses the same vendor as Connecticut, they point out. And that company is currently managing Michigan's unclaimed property database under a $4.4 million contract that runs through September of 2027. To me, there's only one logical explanation for not showing those properties, and that is that the state doesn't want to return them. And he says, well, I'm sorry, but that's their job. And of course, he's being a little nicer than he has to be. It's not that they don't want to return them. It's that they want to keep them. And I know you're going to say, Steve, that's the same thing. Well, no. I'm pointing out that there's a motive there. It's not laziness, it's greed. And yes, the state gets to keep $189 million, or on average of $122 million a year, by doing it this way. But that does mean that a lot of people who have unclaimed money, who've gone to the website looking to see if they had any unclaimed money, wouldn't know it unless they, of course, called the hotline between 9 and 2 Monday through Friday. And boy, I'll bet you anything that's a fun phone call. Imagine it's your job. You go to Lansing looking for a job. What's your job? I answer the phone to answer questions regarding unclaimed money in amounts below $50 from people who are calling to see if we've got their money. And like I said, just that phone call, thinking about that phone call and comparing that to simply entering the information into a computer, it seems to me that the phone call would be more, strenuous in terms of time wasted by somebody. But again, like I said, I'm not an IT guy. I could be wrong. But as they've pointed out, all these other states are managing to do it. And quite frankly, if California can do it with their population, Michigan could do it too. So along with California, it's Indiana, Missouri, Idaho, Hawaii, and Wyoming. So that's a good grab bag there of states doing it. Michigan should too. A couple of years ago, I did check to see if they had anything of mine, but it didn't occur to me that I needed to call to find out if they had any of my money at less than $50. And that, of course, is the problem. Who would know that they've got missing money out there? And so if it's a website you can check in your spare time, whether you're at work or on your phone or sitting in an airport, whatever, you can glance at the website and see, oh, okay, I guess there's nothing there. But, to double check to make sure, though, you got to call the number between 9 and 2, Monday through Friday, and see, because maybe you do. So it just seems silly to me. But like I said, I wouldn't require them to post things that are less than $1. I'm surprised they've got to notify the state of money less than $1. However, if someone tells the state about it, then the state should tell the person who owns it about it as well. So Jonathan Oosting wrote the article. Thank you very much, my friend. It's a great article in Bridge, Michigan. James sent it. Michigan reaping millions by hiding unclaimed money worth less than $50 per claim, but adding up to $189 million in total. Only way you know is you call the number, again, between 9 and 2, Monday through Friday. There you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. No one ever gained weight from enjoying a little eye candy.